Hello and welcome back. I hope you're having an excellent day so far. Today is part one of a mini series that I'm doing. I'm going to be sharing my 2023 planner inserts step by step, insert by insert, showing you my process for staying organized. Today we're looking at my yearly and quarterly planning, and then we'll dive into monthly, weekly, and my daily. So I'm going to try to keep this as condensed as possible. So let's jump right in. I have 3 top tab dividers for my calendar inserts, and the first section is my yearly and quarterly section from Infinite Lotus. These inserts are MN018 on the site, and they include a yearly overview for referencing. When you turn the page, you have a year's worth of monthly notes. So this is a lined section. You have 6 months on one side and 6 months on the other. You can use this as a monthly checklist. You can do your date planning on here, or you can use it to set up goals for the year. And then when you turn the page again, you have your 2023 vision. So you have 5 2023 top priority goals, and then you have 4 lined lists. And lastly, we have our quarterly planning. So every quarter has its own page. On the first side of the page, you have a reference calendar for each month with a lined note section, so you can put in important dates. That's how I use my quarterly inserts. And then the back of the insert has accomplishments, improvements, and a grid note section. So to start with the yearly overview, this is essentially a 12-month at-a-glance calendar. So it has the months of the year, it has the days of the week listed at the top, and then it has all of the dates for the full year. And I find this really helpful for referencing. So if I'm on the phone and I'm looking for a quick date, instead of flipping around my agenda to find the correct calendar, I can just open up to this page and it has all of the dates ready to go. And this is also great if you like to do tracking. So if you're tracking your goals, you could color code on here and cross out certain days or highlight certain days of each of these months. You can block off PTO, you can block off vacation time, or if your spouse has a job where they're away for certain months or certain weeks, you can go ahead and track all of this on one page, and it makes it super easy. But for me, I'm just using it for referencing. So let's go ahead and start filling out some of these inserts. I had some sticky notes on here to kind of pre-plan how I wanted to use these, because once you start writing, you can't really change how you're going to use these. So I wanted to plan it out a little bit so I could get the most out of these inserts. So I already have my important dates and like actual planning system down. So I wanted to use this to help me get closer to my goals. One of the things I'm focusing on this year a lot is my goal planning. I'm really trying to incorporate it with my everyday planning and making sure that I'm working towards my goals every single day, or at least I'm thinking about them and planning the next steps. So for each of these months, I put in a focus. So for January, I wanted to evaluate, which I did. February is my focus month. March is my self-prioritization month. April is my action month, and then May I want to focus on creating more balance, and June is gratitude. Of course, I want to do all of these things every month, but I find it more manageable to pick a focus for each month and prioritize that. Moving on to the back side of that insert, we have our 2023 vision. So I'm going to be adding in my top 5 goals that I want to work towards this year. And I'm going to keep these pretty general because I already have a goal planning system where I've already planned out what my actual goals are going to be and how I'm going to reach them and how I'm going to measure my progress. So I don't want to repeat that in here, but I do want to keep my goals at the forefront. So when I flip through my planner, I can get a glance and kind of remind myself of what I'm working towards. So at the bottom, I am setting up 4 different lists, and these are going to be experiences that I want to have in 2023. I don't know about you guys, but 2022 for me went by so quick, and I feel like I got nothing done. I feel like I didn't do anything fun. So this year, one of my big focuses is to get out and experience the city that I live in. I love living in Milwaukee. We have so many cool restaurants and bars and things to do outside, and now that we have dogs, we really want to focus on getting out and enjoying our city. So I have some solo activities that I can do by myself that are more mindful and spiritual for me personally, and then I have things I want to do with Tony, things that I want to do with my parents and my sister, and things that I want to do with my dogs to include them on our outings. So the next page goes right into the quarterly inserts, and I've been using this same quarterly insert strategy for a few years now, and it's really helpful for me. So I do all of my pre-planning or all of my scheduling through my quarterly inserts first before they make it to other places in my planner. So it is a little bit of an overlap, but I find this to be really helpful for me. So right now I'm just kind of back planning for January since I didn't start planning in these right away. I already had my January dates kind of set up already, and they were already in my weekly spreads, so I didn't feel the need to add them to my quarterly, but I cannot stand the empty spot. So I back planned that, but then for February and March, I'm putting in upcoming dates that are important, I have to be available for, obligations, or events. So every time I get a new appointment or have an invitation to something, it goes straight to my quarterly inserts. So here I have a little ski trip planned. It's nothing major, just our local hills. And then I have an appointment, our Valentine's Day reservation, my launch date, so mark the 25th in your calendar too. And then I also have an appointment at the end of the month. And I only have one thing to add for March so far, but I'm sure that will fill up in the next couple weeks. And then from there, I go ahead and put all of that information into my monthly spreads. So my monthly spreads stay empty until the beginning of that month. And then I sit down and I add in all of my important dates for my quarterly section. I know that might seem like overlap, and it kind of is, but for me, this is a system that helps me plan out specific dates. And then when I get to the month, I can remind myself by rewriting them in my monthly planner section. If I don't feel like I need to rewrite it or if something's canceled, I don't rewrite them. So that's another way to kind of avoid crossing things out. If something gets canceled, I'll just put in the correct date for that month, if that makes sense. And this becomes especially helpful when I'm scheduling things out 6 months in advance or a year in advance. It's more helpful for me to have one place to put all of my appointments, but then I can schedule it differently in my monthly planner. So for example, if the tax deadline is April 18th, I want to have that date somewhere. But if I put that in my monthly calendar when I get to April, if I've already completed that, then I don't really need to have it on my monthly calendar. I have room for something else. So I just mentioned my monthly spread, and that is going to be part 2 of this series that's coming out next week. So stay tuned for that. You can turn on your notifications if you want to be notified, but I'm going to go through how I do my monthly planning, and then we're going to go to my weekly planning, and you'll see all the parts kind of come together and how I use each of my sections separately but together at the same time. They all work together in a way. Some of the dates overlap, but they all serve a different purpose, and really the purpose is for me to do the action of planning. That's what makes me feel very productive. It makes me feel more organized when I'm actively engaging with my agenda. So I can note dates for my quarterly section, I can plan them into my monthly spread, and then I can schedule them into my weekly routine. I like to have the system of planning and keeping up with it and updating my agenda constantly. So that is how I use my yearly and quarterly inserts. If you guys have any questions, let me know down below. I will have some announcements coming up. I mentioned my launch on the 25th. I will have more news on that. You can also sign up for my newsletter through my website, and you'll also get a freebie if you go ahead and do that. But anyways, thank you guys so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed this video. I hope it was helpful for you. If you have questions, let me know, and I will see you guys next time. Bye.